What's up, my man? How you doing? Man, I'm doing good too, man. Can't complain. It's just another day working here, man. I saw your application, man. I was pretty interested. Your resume was looking pretty sharp. Your background was clean and all. Figured I'd take a chance on you, man. I think you're like my fourth person. I think you're like my fourth person today, man. And the last three, they were cool and all, but it's still up in the air right now on what I want to do. But hey, man, I'm the GM. My name's Anthony. I don't know if I mentioned that over the phone when we spoke, but I just wanted you to come in because I just wanted to get to know you a little bit more, a little bit more better. I didn't have that much time to really, conversate over the phone, but now that we're here, we can get a better, understanding of each other and, where you stand at, why you want to be here, why do you want to work here at Papa John's, but, you know what I mean? Let's just go ahead and get into it, like I said, man, got the interview, not your interview, but, the application right here, man, it's looking good. It's looking pretty good. I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions, see if you meet the qualifications. But first things first, man, why do you want to work here? Why do you want to work here? If you don't mind, I'm going to take some notes while I'm at it. But why do you want to work here? You feel like you're a good fit for the job? Why do you feel like you're a good fit for the job, man? Because I got other people too that say they're a good fit for the job, but they can't meet their standards. So why do you think you're a good fit for the job? Okay. Hard working. I like that. I like to see that, but I need that audio to match your video, man. I need you to back that up. You saying you a hard worker. I need you to demonstrate in any way possible that you a hard worker. I'd appreciate that very much, but you said you a hard worker. Now, people get struck up when I ask them this question, man, and it's not supposed to be a joke, but it's something for me to ask you because I need you to know how to do this number one thing. This is how we function and how we make our money. Do you know how to make pizza? I've seen a lot of interviewees, and people that I've trained that really don't know how to make pizza. I had to let them go because we're just wasting time. But do you know how to make pizza, man? Okay. Like I'm talking, you know how to make a pretty beautiful pizza. All right. Knows how to make pizza. All right, bet. Now, what's some skills that you got, man? Like some hard or some soft skills that you could bring to the table for us to make us a better unit, a better team. You know what I mean? What makes you a best fit? Like, what are some of your skills? Let me know that now. Okay, you communicate. We need that. We definitely need that, especially dealing with these customers, man, because they can get impatient, they can get a little greedy, but communication is definitely one I like. And like hard working, yeah, you said that, hard working, I like that. Any more skills you got besides, communication, hard working? You a leader, I like that, leading the charge, especially when I'm not here, man. That's probably one of the things that can worry me the most, because when I'm going on my off days, I have other shift managers on the shift, leading. I need to make sure that they're good by themselves. So, if you a leader, man, you better stand by that. This ain't nothing to joke around with, man. But you said you a leader. I like that. Going good already. Now, another thing I had was that when you applied, for some reason it didn't put in like the position that you wanted. So what was the position that you wanted? Did you want the driver position? You wanted a regular inside position? Or did you want like the shift leader position? Okay, you wanted the shift leader position. Okay, that's good. I'm glad you do, because to be honest with you, we need some more shift leaders, man. I need some more reliable, independent good so far, but why do you want to work here? You know, you got all these other pizza joints. What made you pick Papa John's? Like, why do you want to work here? Your friend, you said your friend told you about working here. You had a previous friend that worked there. Okay, that's what's up. But he didn't work at this location. He worked at somewhere else. Okay, that's alright. Okay. You know, I probably know of him. You know, I'm not. Sometimes I'll be at different locations as well. You know, I'm not just the manager or the GM of this store. You know, sometimes I'll be going to other stores. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? So I may have ran into him once or twice. I don't know. But that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, man. I'm glad. You know, you want to be a shift leader. You know, that's something that I was really looking for. Most people just want to be drivers. You know, I need help on the inside, especially like on the weekends. You know, it get real heavy at the mall time, especially if we don't have any dough up. You know, we put ourselves in a hole if we don't got no dough up, or if nothing's prepped at all. And you know, we get all these orders coming in. But glad you wanted to be another insider, man. I appreciate that. Now, a question I'm gonna ask you, and I need you to be firm with this answer, man. Are you able to handle weekend rushes? Now, what I mean by rushes, man, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday around dinner time, I say about like 4 or 5 o'clock, man. 4 or 5 through sometimes 8 or even 9 o'clock at night. You know, we have these big dinner rushes where we got a lot of stuff on the screen. I'm talking like 50 orders on the screen at once. And you know, with that, we need all the help we can get. We need, you know, all the reliance we can get. And I just need to know from you, will you be dependable when it comes down to dealing with the dinner rushes? Because, you know, there be times where some employees, you know, they get struck up and they kind of just sink and they just like, I can't do this no more. But I need to know if you're able to handle that, man. You know, there'll be some Fridays or Saturdays that I'm here, and there'll be some Fridays and Saturdays that I'm not here. And the times that I'm not here, this is where I need you to step up as the shift leader and be able to, you know, be that role model when I'm not here, and just do what you have to do to get the food out. Now, I'm not talking like, you know, being all unprofessional and rushing things. You know, I need things to go smoothly, man. You know what I mean? So, are you good with that? You know, it can get bad at any time. And I need to know if you're able to handle that. Okay. I trust you, man. You seem like a good dude, so I trust you. This means that my store is in your hands when I'm not here. I just want you to know, I'm just joking with you. But, yeah, man, you know, I appreciate that. Alright, another question, you know, how often can you work? But you was thinking like 5 days a week, maybe. You know, you could sometimes, if you want, you could do open shifts, back to back to back. You could do open and close, open and close. I know we got a couple of the other shift leaders that like the strictly open and like the strictly close, but you know, I can try to make your schedule a little flexible with theirs, because you know they can't just always open, they can't just always close. But yeah, man, you know, I could pull some strings, man. We can see if I can get you opening or closing. But what you prefer? Would you prefer to open or close? Prefer to open. All right. What about like the weekends? Would you mind closing if there's some days I'm not here? Okay. All right, that's about it. And what were you thinking? Normally the open shifts, you know, you open it. You know, we normally open around 10, but you know, just to like prep and all, you know, we want you to come in early, like around like 9:30, you know, just to get settled in and get prepared, you know, for the morning. You know, nothing really happens during the morning, but just rather be safe than sorry. But you know, like 9, we can do like, if you wanted to work like Monday through Thursday, you could do like every day of that week, like 9 to 5. Do like 9 to 5, and then we gonna have come in and do the closing shift. And then weekends when I'm not here, you know, if you want to do the closing shifts, because you know we're gonna have somebody else open it, you can do like what 4 to 1 or 4 to 12. You know, some days we close at 1, some days we gonna close at 12. But yeah, man, that works for you. All right. All right, now I got another question for you. How much were you looking to get paid, man? Okay. Well, hourly pay right now, we starting our shift leaders at $18.50. So, you know, you want that raise, man, later down the road, you gotta show me, like, you know, this is what you good at. You gotta show me that you earned that, man. So, and like I said, man, like, I like you. You know, you single, got good personality, man. You know, application look tight. You know, I can work with you, man. But first, you gotta put that work in first. You gotta show me that you want it. We could probably boost you up, you know, an extra $2. You know, that beats 50 an hour, man. But, you know, you just gotta show me that you want it. You know? But, yeah, man. Yeah, everything looks great, man. Now, normally, is there anything you want to ask me? You know, and you got any questions for me whatsoever? The uniform. Yeah, so normally the uniform, wait, question, what size are you in a shirt? You a medium, okay. So yeah, normally with the uniforms, we're strict, like we're real strict about the uniform. So we have to be in uniform. So since you working like 7 days? No, since you're working like 6 days, I can give you 6 shirts, you know, just for the days you working. And then the pants wise, you gotta wear either cargo pants or you gotta wear blue khakis, and then you gotta wear your hat. Now normally when it gets cold, we tend to get the beanies, you know. I like the beanies because, you know, they look good on the boy. But, you know, normally when it's like, you know, spring or summertime, we got the little caps that we put on the head. So, but for right now, I'm gonna just give you both because, you know, why not? You know, we're just now getting into the fall. So, I mean, it's completely up to you. I can give you both. If you just want one or the other, that's fine by me. I really don't care. It's your preference. You want both? Alright, that's a bet. I got you. I can give you the cap and the beanie. That's fine. Alright. But yeah, yeah, man, you know, I don't ask for much. I just ask that, you know, you just show up on time. You do what you're supposed to do. You help out on the inside, you know. You can take a break, but it has to be like reasonable. You know, you can't just sit down during the middle of a dinner shift and just not do anything. You know, I don't like that. You know, I want to see you be active. I want to see you putting in that work. You know, I want to see you working, man. And that's really all I ask for, man. It's just do what you're supposed to do. You know, do your job. This is what you signed up for, man. And yeah, you know, you don't bother me. I don't bother you. You know, you do what you're supposed to do, man. And yeah, just you can go ahead and rock out your shift. I don't have any beef with that. Training wise, you know, I'm gonna have you come in. What's today? Friday. I'm gonna have you come in on Monday, so that way one of the other shift managers could help you train, can help you get trained. You probably pretty much just gonna go over the basics first. You know, they gonna have you out in the open, like in the open area where we make the food. You know, show you how to stretch the dough. You know, prep it, make the food and all. But yeah, man, we just gonna have you go out there first, and then eventually you're gonna advance, and then you're gonna wind up doing most of the like shift leader jobs, which is like, you know, counting the money and, you know, counting the food and all that. You know, just advancing pretty much, taking on like the extra roles as a shift leader. But like I said, man, you know, I personally think, you know, you a good dude, man. And from what I seen, man, you know, I want to give you this job, man. So, first day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 4 to 12 to close. That's cool with you, man. We can go ahead and get you set up, get you put in the system, man, and then this job is all yours. You know, like I said, I don't ask for much. I just ask that you do what you're supposed to do, man. And yeah, like, you all set. But so what's the verdict, man? What do you want to do? You want the job? Yeah. All right. Well, you're hired, man. Like I said, on Monday, you know, we gonna start training you, and yeah, everything will just take place then and there. You know, there'll be days where I work with you, man. Maybe rare, but there's gonna be days where we do wind up working. You know, I help you and you know, if you're still struggling a little bit, you know, I don't mind helping you. But so since you the first out of all my 4 people that I've interviewed today, man, you know, I'm feeling a little generous today. You know, it's Friday, man. You know, so you know, to send you on your way, we gonna go ahead. We gonna give you a free 14-inch pepperoni pizza, man. This is all you right here. We gonna go ahead and get it to you, man. I appreciate you for coming in. You can make food. I know that's, you know, bound to happen. You know, you work and, you know, you wind up getting hungry. Just don't go overboard. I ask that you just don't go overboard. The only thing I will say that you gotta pay for though is the wings. Yeah, I know you gotta pay for the wings and you gotta pay for the 20-ounce sodas. Yeah, I know that's a lot. I know, but still, you gotta pay for those. And if, mind you, you a part of this team now, so you gonna wind up having the employee discount. So it's probably just gonna be like $1 for a bottle. You know, I'm not bugging about that. You can use your employee discount. You know, the pizza free. I don't care. Do whatever you want. Just like I said, please don't go overboard. That's all I ask for you, man. And yeah, man. That's it. That's all I got for you, man. You know, I appreciate you for stopping by, coming through. You know, like I said, you're the first out of the 4 that I just hired today, man. So, yeah, you start on Monday. I'll see you then. But yeah, man, if you want this 14-inch pizza, this is all you